My name is Christopher Gonzalez. I'm a student at Wentworth Institute of Technology. Today I'll be interviewing a Vietnam veteran, Hymen. I would like to thank Karen Herrera and Lucia Merson David from the Institute of Learning and Teaching from the University of Massachusetts, Boston. From here I would like to introduce my person I'm interviewing today is Hymen.
Jaime Rodriguez, I'm from Puerto Rico, Isabela, Puerto Rico. I'm going to be 65 years old and soon to retire.
Where do you work at the moment?
Right now I work at UMass Boston, William Joyner Center.
Okay. Alright, I'll start with the questions. Why did you join the service, or were you drafted?
In those years, the people from Puerto Rico got drafted. But 7 days before I got drafted, I joined. Because if I'm gonna go, let's go as soon as possible and deal with it. So, but the drafted was on in those years. 55 Puerto Ricans were drafted during the Vietnam era.
And how old were you at the time?
I just finished college. I just finished college. I was 22 years old.
And what branch of the service were you in?
I was in the Army.
How did your parents feel about it when you actually joined the Army?
They didn't feel so bad. Puerto Rican, they have been in the U.S. Army from 1898. Many of my family members had been in the Army before. My brother was in the Korean era. My uncle was in the World War II era. So we have a small tradition of people serving in the Army. In my case, I went to the Army because I needed a job. Many Puerto Ricans went to the Army because they needed a job.
Was it hard to get a job at the time?
Still are. This is an island with so many people, and people need a job, and when they don't find it, they go to the Army. Like many working class families, many people from the ghetto, many people from the neighborhood, they don't have they don't get a job. They join the Army, they join the Navy, they join the Marine, but they need a job. And one of the best places for a job is the armed forces, for good or bad.
Where did you do your basic training?
I went to Fort Jackson. Fort Jackson in South Carolina. I did my basic and the second training, the specialized training in Fort Jackson.
How long was the training for?
Training was about altogether about 6 months. The basic one is about 3 months, and the next one is about 6 months, about 3 months too. From there, so after you finish, they just wait for your order where you're gonna go next. And most people went to Vietnam. I went to a jungle training in Panama, Colón, Panama. I'm from there, Vietnam.
Now, for other people who were probably in the war, it was kind of a culture shock just to see other people from the country. Seeing how you were from Puerto Rico, how much of a culture shock was it for you?
I was an infantryman. We was training to fight. Was more cultural shock to join the U.S. Army when most of everybody was white. Everything was English. I didn't know how to speak English. I came from Puerto Rico. The U.S. was something, was a different culture, different language, different value, different religious, different belief. But all it was, but when you have been training when you are an infantry guy, and the only thing you know is to do infantry work, is fighting. Year after, you might think about cultural shock, but when you're there, you don't think about that. You know, years after that, they look the same as me, or more or less, but they want to kill you too. They want to kill you. That's their country. The enemy, they didn't want us there. That's the only place that we went there. We were not from there. We were strangers. But we went to do a job, and I went to do a job. And when you have been training to do a job, that's what you do best. You know?
And what was your occupational specialty when you were in the Army?
My MOS. That's what it is. I was 11B20. 11B20 is infantryman. Infantryman. I was a recon in Vietnam, specialized in different type of weapons, but more or less specialized in looking for the enemy. Search and destroy, look for the enemy. Because in the jungle, they do not send a large unit. They always send a recon unit first to look for the enemy, to find where the enemy is. And from there, they send big unit. It was 3 or 4 people, no more than 7. And we went inside, and we would look for the enemy.
Do you have any specific experience from your basic training that still remains with you today?
Basic training prepare you, give you an infrastructure, give you the discipline, give you the skill to be in the battlefield. Life is a battlefield for me. Civilian life, being in Boston, dealing with so many different people, different race, different language. The Army prepare you to do and to deal with people in Boston, in a sense that give you the infrastructure, give you the discipline, give you the knowledge to deal with people in a different way, and to prepare you to deal with people in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
For me, gave me discipline that most people are in civilian life are very difficult to find. They come late to meeting, they are not prepared. You know, those things that happen, and you always have to be prepared. You all we have. Because if you want to be effective and you want to enjoy life, you should be more prepared than anything.
What year did you actually go to Vietnam?
I went 68 at October 68. October. I went to the army in the summer of 68. And I stayed in the army until 1970, June 1970. I did almost one tour in Vietnam.
During your time in Vietnam, did you know what you were fighting for? Did you believe that the United States government's mission was correct? Or true?
I always believe that we didn't supposed to be there. That what we was doing was wrong. But after you are there, and you see what's going on, then you realize that what you been doing is wrong and you should not be there. And sometimes you believe that whatever because you went there, it was one of those big mistakes that you make in your life. You know, but at the same time, you are an infantryman. You are the one who do the fighting. Okay, you are not the one who is in the air condition, or you are in the base or doing supply or doing something else. Your MOS 11B20, you are there. They want to kill you and you want to kill them. Basic. It's not, regardless how you felt about it was good or bad, you don't have no choice. Because as long as you are there, if you don't fight, they're gonna fight you. If you don't kill them, they're gonna kill you. You know, an infantryman doesn't have too many choices.
Were you happy to be in Vietnam?
I was not happy, but I had no choice. I don't want to bring more stress to my life, to the stress that you already have to be there. So you have to develop, you have to protect yourself from those questions. You're there to do a job. If you put more weight, more problem in your own, more problem on top of the one that you already have, then you're going to go crazy. So when people say to me, "You happy?" or "Do you feel guilty?" I said, "No, because I had to protect myself. You have to develop your own protection beside the one on the enemy that you have against your enemy. You also have to have again to protect your mind, you know, because you can go crazy. Very.
What were the things that you would do to help like relieve the stress, or if you felt like things were getting too much?
Maybe no, don't. I was not thinking happiness, when sadness. You know, I was not thinking in those terms. Then when you asked me if I was happy or not, I was not thinking about that. You think about that, you don't come alive. You don't come out alive. Maybe they kill you when you start thinking about that. So you have to think about what is your job, do it well, and get out as soon as possible. You know.
While you were there, did any of the American soldiers act racially superior, not only to the Vietnamese, but even to you, seeing as you're a Latino?
Because the racism in Vietnam, because this is a society that was racist. So whatever we have there was what racist was there too, because came from the same society that went there with us. And we have many situations that they used to, the Americans used to call the Vietnamese goose.
Yeah, goose. Yeah.
That's a language that you use to put people down, like they call Puerto Rican speak, like they call black niggers, like they call many other ethnic groups. They nickname. So they use Vietnamese different that type of language to put them down and to abuse them and to burn the village and sexually violate their women. Yeah. But war is a very difficult things to see. Those who never been, or those who write about it, but they never been there. Maybe they never are able to describe when you are in a battlefield. Very difficult.
Did you ever think at any time that while you were there, this was just a civil war between the same people?
I think that I didn't think in those terms. I was not thinking politically in those terms. I was thinking about stay alive, get out alive, take care of my own unit, take care of my own platoon. You know, many times you think about that when you are out of that.
Yeah.
But when you are in that, you don't think about that. Many people might tell you this and that, but in my case, those thoughts never came to my mind. My mind, the only thing was to stay alive, to survive, to be prepared, to be alert, to sleep with my rifle. That was my best friend. To take care. I never went to a village to look for women. I never went to a bar. I never went out. I just went to I did my mission. We did, when I say I say my platoon, we did what we did. We came back, but many people, when they were free, they have time to, they went to the village and they never came back. They got killed because you had to be, we had to have discipline.
Yeah.
You cannot when you're in the battlefield, you know, most people, they feel, some people feel that they are free to do this and this and that. That's why they get killed. You know? So that's my free time was to stay in my own and be ready for the next one.
Did you ever know that the U.S. government was lying to the American public back at home?
Oh yeah. I knew, but like I told you, when you don't have no choice. You are an infantryman. You have to put that aside. Question of peace, question of lying, question of you or you're right or wrong, you just put it aside. Because you keep thinking about that. You're never gonna come out alive. You know, was year after then, when I came back, I get involved with the anti-war movement. But when I was inside, I put all those feelings aside, because those feelings, they were not going to help me. They're gonna kill me, and I want to come out alive from the battlefield.
Would you mind telling us about any acts of heroism that you might have seen while you were there?
What?
Acts of heroism? Like any,
So, the fact that you're there, and you are in the battlefield, and you see so many people, you know, remember, most people, they were 18 years old, 19 years old, just came from high school. When I went to the army, I already finished my bachelor degree, but most of the people who were with me, they were young, very young, 18, 19, 20. And the fact that they survived in the battlefield, and they survived the jungle, and they survived the weather. Remember, in Vietnam there was raining like 6 months. 6 months. You are a year there, you're 6 months, but those a year is and you see so many young soldiers doing the impossible, helping other soldiers survive, bringing them. It's like you see that heroism every day. People like they didn't know before. Even racist people, redneck, in the battlefield is no racism. In the battlefield is not. You don't fight redneck. Everybody helps each other. And even those who are more than redneck, they do anything to help you in the battlefield. When we are back in the rear, it's different. So you see everything every day.
Did you ever feel like, I know you said you try to keep like the political ideas, the feelings out of your head while you were on the battlefield or while you were there in Vietnam, but was there any idea that this war could win, that the U.S. could win this war?
No, I felt that every time that regardless of the outcome, we was wrong to be there. The outcome never be good for the United States because we are not from there. The Vietnamese have been fighting for the last 5,000 years. They always been fighting. And they always been fighting against those people who want to dominate them, like the Japanese, like the Chinese, like the French. They fought for 100 years against the French. They fought against the Japanese for many years. They fought against the Chinese for many years. They fought against the Mongol for so many years. They always been fighting because everybody wants to control them. And when you see the history of a country like that, it was very difficult for us to win. You see, right now, we have a better relation. We're doing much better with Vietnam than never before.
Yeah.
Right now, the U.S. company making more money in Vietnam than never before. Today we have one of the best relations in the international field between the Vietnamese and us. Never before happened. Why do we have to fight? Because maybe the industry, the U.S. government policy, but was something that we didn't have to fight it. And now that we are not fighting it, we're doing better economically than never before.
What did you think of the enemies or the people that you were fighting while you were in Vietnam?
What do you mean?
Sort of, did you ever get to meet other people from Vietnam, or like could you tell the difference between the people you were fighting or those who were trying to help you out?
You know, I never knew, I never saw my enemies. This is guerrilla warfare. The enemy is always moving, always changing, always hiding, always fighting. But I have good relation with the Vietnamese people when I was there. They used to work in the base.
Mm-hmm.
They used to work in the base. They used to clean the base. they used to clean the place that you live, and we had wonderful relation. Most they was they love the American as people, but they didn't like what we was doing, you know. But I had wonderful relation, and I went back many times. I have been in Vietnam many times after that, and I keep good relation with them, very good relation.
Did you dislike or hate any of the hippies or college students back at home?
No, but then when I came back from Vietnam in the New York airport, they almost killed me for hippie, because when I came back from Vietnam, I had my uniform, and they started calling me names. And the police helped me, protect me from them. So, no, I didn't hate it because I think that what they was doing was right. I mean, not what they did to me, but what they was doing. Because people had to, when people don't like something, they have to raise their voice. You know, and that's what they did. But at the same time, because I had my uniform, they almost killed me in the New York airport.
Did you ever see any of your friends get killed in Vietnam?
Oh, yeah.
How was it like when you first shot at somebody in Vietnam?
When somebody got killed, you had to be fighting. You had to be helpful. You had to do something for him not to die, or he killed to take him with you to a safe area, in a way that their family, his family, can bury him. But if somebody is fighting with you, you have to do everything possible to save his life or to save his body. But when somebody is with you, it's more than family, it's more than a brother. It's you. You know, it's your people. You're alive because they know they are alive because you. They care.
Was it scary the first time you stepped down in Vietnam? You first went into the jungle? What was that experience like the first time?
My first minute, my first 5 minutes, my a Puerto Rican that I met in the training, he died. He's supposed to, when we came from the airplane, the airport, they start shooting the airport and sending missiles to the airport. and he run with his duffel bag. He's supposed to drop and crawl and hide himself, but he didn't do that. He just keep running with his duffel bag. And more rounds explode, kill him. Finally, that was painful to see. And you are training not to do that. You remember when I told you about discipline? They teach you something not to do or not to do. And he did what you don't do. You know, when you hear the siren telling you that the bomb is coming, you go down. But you don't run with a duffel bag. You protect yourself.
How long after that did you become immune to being in combat, to seeing all the hearing the gunshots, seeing people get killed?
You know, every day that you are involved in the battlefield, you become more immune to what's going on. Sometimes you are no longer a human being.
Were drugs used a lot?
Was not a drug, but I never used drugs.
Yeah.
I started smoking cigarettes in Vietnam, but the first marijuana I smoked was in my civilian life. I never smoked drugs there.
Mm-hmm.
It was never before. For whatever, many people did. Many people did. But in my unit, I didn't see drugs. Because my unit was so small unit, like 100 people. Very specialized unit. But I know it was a lot of drugs, a lot of things. But I was not but I never used it. You know, never used it. The first time I smoked drug was 6 months after I came back. But I didn't like it. I never liked it.
So, do you consider that Vietnam was a mistake then? To be there, to anything involving the Vietnam War?
Every time that you invade a country, it's a mistake. And this was a big mistake. Like Iraq is a big mistake. You know? Maybe I don't know too many wars that are not mistakes. Most of them are mistakes.
Do you have any regrets or any big regrets from going to Vietnam?
Maybe now, but not before.
No.
I mean, you know, many people are when we came back, was this movement of feeling guilty of being in Vietnam. And like I told you before, I always try to protect myself, my mind, because this is the only thing I have. Many people, many people when we came back, they got involved in drugs. A lot of suicides, a lot of alcohol, a lot of people in the psychiatric hospital. A lot of homeless, a lot of Vietnam veteran homelessness. So I try to protect myself because I did not want to feel guilty, because feeling guilty means that I can lose my mind, and I always protect my mind from go crazy.
Like you were saying, you saw a lot of the other veterans, you know, a lot of their lives went downhill after the war. Do you think that the war, the use of the idea of the war, is the reason why they allowed themselves to go down? Do you think that was a fair, a good reason, or a good explanation, or you know?
War changed you. War changed you. Killing people changed you. And the battlefield changed you. You go crazy. Many times. You lose control of yourself. So many of us came back, and because the people of the United States, they didn't really like what we did in Vietnam. And the people of the United States, they didn't want to be in Vietnam. And so many people died. 58,000 Americans died. The Vietnamese, they say that 3 million, but other sources say that about 7 million Vietnamese died. It's a lot of people died. So you become overnight a man. You know, most of the people when they were 18, 19 years old, they didn't have no experience at all of life. And overnight, after 6 months of training, they are in the battlefield. And at the same time, the enemy want to kill them. At the same time, the people, the people where they come from, hate what they doing. They didn't have no support from these people. And when we came back, we used to be called baby killer. That's what those yuppies, hippies called me when I was in the airport, baby killer. Because they use anything to make us feel really bad. And we were there not because we want to be there, it was because the government, the U.S. want to be there, want us to be there. We kill people, not because we want to kill people. We didn't have no choice. And when we came back, we didn't have no parade. We were not welcome back to the United States. We left from here and we were not welcome to come back. If you got a girlfriend and the family found that you are a Vietnam veteran, they really dislike you. They did anything to make your girlfriend aware that you are not a good man because you are a Vietnam veteran. So a lot of things went to the mind of many of us. You know, one time, in Massachusetts, 1/3 of the inmate population used to be Vietnam veterans. 1/3 of the prison population was a Vietnam veteran. 1/3 of the homeless population was Vietnam veterans. Most of the suicide happened after we came back to the United States. So a lot of things happened to us. We were not able to find jobs. We were not able to readjust to civilian life very easy. In my case I went to a small town in Puerto Rico. Family, my neighborhood, they embraced me. But that did not happen to most of us. Most of us went to jail, went to drugs, went to alcohol, went to so many things. And was very difficult to see that. You see so many. It's no, this country should never have a homeless veteran. We should not have a homeless at all, because this is a rich country. So this happened. So a lot of things happened to us. Post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of things happened to us. The country was not ready for us, and we was not ready for the country. They didn't love us, and we feel betrayed by this country. Many of us, like me, we were able to survive. We were able to overcome. But not too many people were able to do that.
How do you think we could have won the war, if we could have done that at all?
I don't know the answer to that. I think that the only way is to winning a war like that require. I don't believe we have the only way we can win in a country is like we winning right now in Vietnam, with diplomatic relations, with human relations, with negotiation. But in 1940, United States dropped a bomb in Gabon. That was the only way that they won the war so easily. But maybe dropping a bomb or something like that. But I don't, every time that you invade a country, I don't care how many years gonna last, you always gonna lose. You always gonna lose. Because you should always be welcome to any country that you go. So every time that you invade the country, you're gonna suffer the consequences. That happened there, gonna happen in Iraq, and gonna happen many other places. Because you don't invade a country. So I believe United States was not able to learn a lot from Vietnam. Because we invade Iraq now. And I don't know how long we're gonna be there. So I don't know how we could have won the war in Vietnam. Maybe dropping a bomb. And that was I don't know.
I want to say thank you for the opportunity to interview. With this, is there anything else you would like to say?
No, thank you for coming, and try to look for peace, because young people have to fight for peace. Not only in the neighborhood, but United States love to fight, and we need to develop a better relation with different countries. Relation, a better way of dealing with people. Fighting is not the best answer. Okay.